If you ever had a 9 to 5 or you ever was hustling, soon as you made some money, that's when your phone started ringing. It's an energy. Money not really real, it's an energy. Soon as you make some money, people from out the woodworks go to calling you. And I noticed I was like, whenever I'm doing something I'm supposed to do, that's when all the distractions come. You ain't never got time for me when I got free time. But when I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, the universal law, universal law governs all events, it tests me. Man, I'm gonna stay on my pivot. That's when all the distractions come whenever I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Now y'all got all the time in the world.
Money is just energy. We think because we can touch it and feel it and sense it and perceive it with our 5 senses that it's real. And so most of us go through life striving to make more of it. And we focus on the achievement of the paper, of the dollar, as opposed to coming into alignment with the state of being that attracts it.
You will never get rich thinking like this. You need to shift your mindset to providing as much value to people. And by providing the best value to people through your products, service, or whatever it is, money comes as a side effect of that. You see, when you focus on rich, you will never ever get rich. It's not about becoming rich. It's about helping people's lives as much as possible. The reality that you desire is not the reality you truly want. You just want to escape the emotional and internal state that your reality is making you feel now. Therefore, if you use your mind can be anywhere, any place, anything at any time. That's the power of the mind. You can become this reality, this internal state, before you have the external reality. And this is how you truly bring things to you. The reality that you want already exists as a state of thought and emotion. By feeling that, you are becoming that vibration. That's why we call it a mindset. You set your mind to frequencies. And once you do that, you become the mind, you become the thought, you become the emotion. Then slowly over time, it becomes your action. And then your action becomes your external circumstances.
I really like the point that he made about wanting to escape the feeling that we have. Here's an example. If I'm in $200,000 worth of debt, which also is an illusion, remember, it feels like shit. It feels like scarcity. It feels like I don't have enough. The motivation becomes, well, I feel like the only answer would be to have more money, to be able to pay off the debt, and that would make me feel better. And so the focus becomes the money. And we forget that we're in control of the feeling, but we give our control and our power away when we believe that it's our external circumstance that dictates how we feel. But how we feel is a choice. We choose that in every moment of every day. And our feelings are also our guidance system. And they're showing us where we're living. They're showing us what vibration we're in. Does this vibration feel good? Is it high? Or does this vibration feel bad and it's low? And if it's bad, then that means that I am out of vibrational alignment with what my higher self knows to be true. And this is the law of attraction. What he's referring to ultimately is another universal law, but it goes back to universal law. It goes back to learning about how our world works. We're not taught about this stuff. School doesn't teach us about how the world works. School helps us to become workers. It helps the system fuel itself. We are the energy the system needs to keep going. So why would they teach us this stuff in school? Why would they empower us to be able to manifest a reality that serves us and not the system? Because what happens to the system? The power is no longer unevenly distributed. If people began to learn their power and learn who they are, this world would look much different. But right now it looks like people are exhausted. People are broke. People are miserable because they don't know who they are. They don't know the power that exists within them. They don't know that they have the ability right now to change their circumstance by paying attention to their minds and their feelings. I'm here to help change that. Welcome to the channel. I'm so happy you're here. I'm your host, Amanda Haynes, and today we're discussing why money isn't real. It's essentially actually energy. Everything is energy. And I'm getting ready to show you why. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you're guided to, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you like the vibe and would like to join the tribe. Let's get into it.
Money is currency and currency is energy. Like, I had to hear it like 6,000 times before I really got that money is energy. It's a frequency. So when you raise your frequency and get into alignment with it, and that whole alignment thing is all about none of the limiting beliefs, just being in surrender. First it was, I can't afford it. And then I eventually went to money flows to me easily and freely. And this is still while I was living in the garage, still while I was, so in debt. But I had started doing all the energy work around it. And I was like, all right, what are my blocks? Like, what just kept coming up in it that I was stuck and that it was hard and that I didn't know what I was doing. So flowing easily and freely was just like, even though I did not believe it at first, like, it wasn't about believing it. It was about the feeling, because we are emotional creatures. The easily and freely flowing was really, really powerful for me.
A couple things that she mentioned in this video that are congruent with what continuously comes into my experience in studying the flow of currency is doing the energy work, focusing less on following the trail of money linearly and focusing more on vertical ascension around abundance. What is my state of being? Am I living in lack or am I living in abundance? What frequency am I vibrating on? So if we live in a universe of energy and vibration, and this isn't rah-rah, this is actually proven by science. And we know that vibration moves along a spectrum of frequency. And if everything in the universe exists within this framework, then that includes money. Money is the byproduct of an abundance frequency, a frequency of resources. I think it's also so important for us to pay less attention to our 3D reality. We tend to react to our circumstance as opposed to creating it. So like she was saying about living in this garage that she's living in, she's not maintaining the vibration of lack, even though all of her circumstances dictate that that should be her vibration. She maintained a dominant vibration of abundance, which I assume led to her experiencing that in her 3D reality, but she ultimately had to ignore what her senses were telling her. And I think that that's something important to note when we're talking about currency and abundance, because there's essentially a lag time between the frequency that I step into and how that manifests on the material plane. So if there's a little bit of a lag time, that means I cannot focus on what my 3D reality is telling me if I want to experience a different reality. I have to shift my vibration, my frequency to match that with which I would like to experience. If we're just using our reality as a feedback loop, then we maintain the same vibration, the same frequency around the clock, and nothing ever changes. And this is why people say this stuff doesn't work. The question to ask is, what are you affirming? Are you affirming lack by paying attention to what your senses are telling you based on your reality and your experience? Or are you holding a vibration that is a match to what you want to experience?
The reason why you're having a hard time with money is because money essentially is not real. Money is an energy. It's a frequency. It's, quite frankly, something that was created to control you and to keep you separate from your true power. And so you're having a hard time making money. And then when you finally make it, you're having a hard time keeping it. And the reason why is because you see yourself separate than money. Quite frankly, you see yourself lower than money. And whenever you see yourself separate or lower than money, you cannot have the very thing that you don't see yourself as being. You will actually subconsciously always find a way to ensure that you never have money. And this only changes when you stop being afraid of it, when you stop holding it up like if it's some magical thing that is only meant for certain people, and start to realize that it's the truth. Money is you and you are money, and both of you are one. And it isn't bad, it isn't good, there's nothing wrong with it, there's nothing right with it. It just is. It's just a reflection of you. Heal you, heal your thoughts about the abundance of you and your life, and you will heal your connection with money.
He made such a good point about money not being separate from us. If everything in this universe is energy, then how could anything be separate? It looks so separate. This couldn't be further from the truth. I also like how he mentioned you see yourself as lower than money. So if money and I are equal, if money and I are both just energy, then we're not separate. But when I say something like, I am abundance, what happens inside? Do I clench up and does my ego tell me that's absolutely absurd? How could I be abundance when I have $4 in my bank account? When I've got $200,000 in debt? How could I be abundance? But the truth is, we are the fabric of existence. We are not separate from the fabric of existence. We are not separate from the source with which we were created. And when we step into that vibration and that frequency, then all of our needs are met. This stuff goes pretty deep.
Now, when you think about money, money is really an idea. You say, that's money. No, money is an idea. It's manifest on paper. Now, paper used to be wood. It didn't seem to make sense. Well, you alter the vibratory rate of the energy that's called wood, and pretty soon it's called paper. And then you put ink on it, and now we call it money. If it can be neither created nor destroyed, it must already be here. If we can't destroy it, if heat will cause the energy that we call water to move into an etheric state, I would imagine heat would cause what we call money to move into an etheric state. And there it goes. Now, where is it? You say it's gone. It's not gone. Still here. You see, you'll never see it on the level it's on now with your physical sensory factor sight. But if you use your intellect and develop understanding, you'll know that it's still here.
I think that was the coolest representation of money itself. We know on a physics, scientific, metaphysical standpoint, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So if money is just energy made manifest, then lighting it on fire doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that it's gone. It just means that it has transferred to a different state of being. The same thing goes for us in our bodies. We don't ever actually die. We just transition from this physical state to another that we can't necessarily perceive. Well, some of us, most of us can't necessarily perceive on this 3D physical plane. So if we can think about money in this way, that just because it isn't perceived in our physical reality at the moment doesn't mean anything. It still exists. It's all about coming into vibrational alignment with it. But money is not actually real. And to be honest, our entire 3D reality is just energy made manifest. And you can tell what vibration you're on by what's being made manifest in your life. And if money or resources are scarce in your life, it's because there's scarcity here. You're matching the vibrational frequency of scarcity. And in order to manipulate your 3D reality, we think that it's linear. We've been taught that we have to work up until a certain point, climb the corporate ladder, and that money comes later. But what we're not taught is about universal law and how the manifestation of abundance is not linear. I truly believe that we're waking up to who we are, what we are, and what this experience that we're living throughout our lifetime is really all about. And it's not about attaining material possessions. It's not about feeding the ego system. It's about coming to know the power that we are and who we are. Let's keep going.
So this is seriously going to shift the way you think about debt. For the universe, money is simply energy. So the concept of debt is a total illusion because it's impossible to be in an energetic deficit. There is no lack of energy. Energy is infinite and inexhaustible all the time, everywhere. Now, what's happening is that if you've created a reality where you have a negative bank balance or you are indebted to someone, you have simply not been allowing the universe to replenish money at the rate that you spend it and in proportion to the amount that you spend it. So basically, you have more going out than what you allowed to come in and return back to you. To stop recreating and manifesting the experience of yourself being in debt, you need to shift your core identity. So no matter what you see in the physical, you can no longer identify as a person who's in debt. You need to identify as a person who is infinitely abundant with energy. This is going to allow you to anchor into the new timeline where you can experience a cash surplus.
I really like how she mentioned our identity. I remember listening to, I think it was Mary Morrissey's, one of her speeches or her masterminds. And she had a speaker who walked on stage and he pulls out a wad of money out of his pocket and he goes, "Oh, I just love money. Money, 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 money. I just love money." And I remember how that made me feel. And I was like, what a materialist. So judgmental, right? I was like, what a materialist, what a shallow person. There were so many limiting beliefs that I had around money that I was able to see because he was my mirror. So he showed me what my thoughts were about money. And why would money want to flow to me when essentially I'm acting as though I despise it? It's so important for us to recognize what our limiting beliefs around money are. Because when we believe that we're not abundant, when we believe that we are separate from abundance, when we believe that money is bad, money is the root of all evil, only the greedy are rich, rich people are terrible people, there's all of these beliefs that we've acquired throughout this life experience that might even not necessarily be ours. It could be our parents listening to the things that they would say growing up, like money doesn't grow on trees, or you have to work hard to make money. All of these are just beliefs that we end up carrying with us and then recreating in this lifetime to affirm this belief that was given to us. Even though there are people and situations, and probably even situations in our own lives that have contradicted those beliefs directly. But because they're so deeply ingrained into our psyche, we believe them and we look for proof of that belief in our everyday life. So it's really about coming to know who you are, coming to know what your beliefs around money are, coming to know what your beliefs around having your needs met are. She really made a good point about checking in to see what your self-identity is. Who do you see yourself as? Do you see yourself as someone who is broke, who will never have money in this lifetime? Or do you see yourself as someone who is infinite and abundant? But nonetheless, let's keep going.
The idea of money, like when you look at it in terms of energy, it's the closest thing to water. And I believe it is an energy. Look at like all of the words and the vocabulary that we use with it. Flow, money flows to me like a river flows. I got money in the bank like a river bank. Currency like a current. Make it rain. It's slang. So we have all of this like language that's built around money, which is similar to water. And so when water is stagnant, like say you have like a river or creek and water doesn't flow in and out of it, what happens? There's mold, there's algae, there's bacteria, and it smells bad. You don't want water to be stagnant. Just like in your human body, if I punched you in the arm and you twist your ankle, what happens? It starts to swell. The water is stagnant. It's called inflammation. And so when water gets stuck or stagnant in one place, then it's painful. Extra bacteria and toxins in the river, the lake, or whenever it's not flowing. Now, what happens with money? If you let money sit for too long, not moving, not doing anything, I'm just saving it in my savings account or my checking account, that's stagnant water. The idea of like giving and receiving and trading and services, exchanging your service, getting the money and then reinvesting it back in people and places. If you have a river, you irrigate it so it goes in. It's bigger, more vibrant. Now it has culture, now it has wildlife. It like thrives. Same with money. The more that you could have money flowing into you and out of you in different ways and revenues and streams of income. That's how you're going to build your wealth. If you just recognize that the more that I give, the more I receive, we're creating this channel.
I like how she mentioned a channel. We think that money comes from sources in this 3D reality. So for example, I work a job and this job I work is the source of my income. Or I have a rental property and the profit I make from that every month is a source of income. And the thing is none of these are sources. There's only one source, the one source that we are not separate from. All of these sources are channels. It's channels for energy to flow through us. Let's keep going.
So I just had a really close friend call me, and she wanted to ask me questions about what it feels like to be truly financially abundant. Like, what does the energy of having a lot of money and stewarding a lot of money feel like for me? And I told her that I don't think my answer is going to match a lot of the other people that she's talked to, because for me, financial abundance or freedom with money doesn't actually feel like happiness per se. For me, it's this subtle current of emotion that feels like, I got it. It's that energy of when a bill comes to the table and you're like, let me get it. It's not ecstatic happiness, because you can have a lot of money and not feel happy. You can also feel really happy and not have a lot of money. And so for me, the feeling of having a lot of money and stewarding a lot of money, meaning that I'm comfortable with letting money go in and out of my bank account, is this feeling of no matter what, I can pay for it. So I would say you could call that trust or security, not happiness. And so how does a truly financially wealthy person view money? For me, I view money completely neutral, meaning that $6 and $6,000, really no difference. I don't view $6 as less expensive than $6,000. The way I make financial decisions is, do I find the thing that is $6 and or $6,000 valuable? For me, the price tag is really neither here nor there. The economy sort of dictates what things are priced at. I determine whether I value the thing that I'm trying to purchase. When I go to the store and I buy toothpaste and toilet paper, it costs maybe $10. So whether it costs $10 or $20 is really neither here nor there. I need it and value it regardless. And that is how I make decisions about literally everything. It's as if I am buying toothpaste and toilet paper. I either need it or I don't. And so for me, investing in myself, whether that be coaching, therapy, different modalities that are going to help me heal, I see those as highly valuable to my success. Whether it costs $5,000 or $30,000 doesn't really faze me. And that's not necessarily because I have a lot of money. It's because I understand how money works. Money is the representation of value and the energy within us that we use to create goods and services. So think of it this way. The more energy I have, the more energy I have to create. The more I create, the more it gets exchanged. And so anything that's going to give me energy is worth it. So if you've been experiencing spending guilt for something like a massage or coffee's out, you don't really know how money works, because the one who has the most money is the one who possesses and utilizes the most energy.
That's a very interesting point that she has. So interesting that she mentioned noticing the value of things over the price of things. Because ultimately, before there was a money system, there was a barter system. And you bartered based on the value of what it was you were receiving versus the value of what you were giving. So that's a very great point she made. I'm pretty much just like her. Like, people are always looking at the price of milk or the price of eggs or the cost of food. And honestly, I'm going to buy the food regardless. I need the food, right? So I don't pay attention to the price of those things. I don't pay attention to the price of gas. Why? Because I absolutely have no effect on what the price is going to be. And it doesn't change the fact that I still need it. So I'm going to buy the gas. I'm going to buy the almond milk. I'm going to buy the fruit because I see the value in it, not the price of it. And like I said, we have to take our attention off of the 3D and start looking at it from an energetic standpoint. Go ahead and drop a comment below. I want to know what you all thought about the video. I want to know if this is something that resonates with you, if this is something that you're familiar with, or if this information was completely brand new to you. Feel free to like the video, subscribe, and share with someone who you think would be interested in this type of information. And share with, honestly, anybody you know, since money's such a commonality between us. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.